Hi, my name is Amber Towles, and today I'm going to be talking about herbarium databasing in Bailey Mountain. So the first thing we're going to talk about is conservation. And conservation is the preservation of species and habitat. And there are many different ways to preserve. And one of the ways that you do this is through management plans. So that way conservation efforts are organized. And so there's three basic types of this, and it's land management, water management, and species management, and all three of these go hand in hand. And there are benefits to nature for conservation for obvious reasons of it creates habitat for different species, maintains good water quality, and keeps the land growing how it naturally would. But there's also benefits to humans, and a lot of this comes from things like you enjoy pretty views of mountains or going out and hiking, but it also benefits industries such as like timber. So, how do researchers create a management plan? One of the things that's done is to do a survey. And a survey is when a researcher goes out into the field to see what species and habitats are present. And in order to do this, the researcher will go look for evidence of species, and this will include seeing what different plant species are there, finding animal tracks and identifying the tracks, and identifying different bird sounds, and then recording different habitat types. So there's an oak wood forest, or there's a wheat field, or there's shallow ponds, and that sort of thing. So, what is an herbarium? An herbarium is a collection of plants that are dried and pressed for preservation onto a piece of paper, and they are labeled. And so it looks a lot like this photo here. And on the label, there's going to be different things about the family name, the species name, the date the plant was collected, who identified the plant, a description about where the plant was found, and descriptions about qualities of the plant that could be lost over time, like petal color. When you collect it, the petals could be white, but over time they could turn yellow, things like that. So why have an herbarium? Herbaria are useful for record keeping. And this includes like knowing where different plant species occur. So they might grow at the foot of a mountain in very moist environments, or they have to grow in a field where it's very dry. And then timing of plant growth. So does it bloom in April or does it bloom in March? And does it wither up in August or does it wither up? And then developmental characteristics. So what do the buds look like? What do the blooms look like before they are fully open? That kind of thing. And then knowing how all of this changes over time. So you could have information from 2001 to 2020, and you could see that a particular plant species used to bloom in April, but now it blooms in May. So just changes like that. Now, what does this have to do with Bailey Mountain? Bailey Mountain is a preserve and has a lot of different uses. Mars Hill University has used it for research in the past, including this one. And there's benefits to the public, so going out and hiking is a really big one. And you may have even gone with President Floyd to go hiking. And then Bailey Mountain is home for many different species. So in order to best keep a grip on what is going on here, a management plan needs to get created for Bailey Mountain. My work is dedicated to inputting specimens into a database. And what I mean by that is Mars Hill University has its own herbarium with many different specimens that have not been put into a database yet. So what I do is I check the labels to make sure the plant species is correct, the family name's correct, there's no spelling errors on the label, that kind of thing. And then I check the specimens to make sure that they are still firmly attached to the paper and don't need any repairs. And the other part of my work is using GIS, which is Geographic Information Systems, to create a map using the latitude and longitude found on the labels and the specimen location descriptions, which are also found on the label. So how does this relate to some of the specimens come from Bailey Mountain, and like I mentioned, they're trying to create a conservation plan for the preserve. And so one of the things that the herbarium is helping to identify is where species are actually occurring and where species are located. So and then another thing is where further surveys need to be done on Bailey Mountain. For the work I've done so far, the Mars Hill Herbarium database has a total of 179 species with 47 families and 86 species. And Bailey Mountain has a total of 21 specimens, 15 families, and 18 species. And as far as the mapping goes, I haven't had a chance to actually map anything yet, but based off of the descriptions on the plants labels, so far the Smith Farm entrance has a lot of plants there, and the trail leading from the Smith Farm, so this yellow trail on this map that you see here, has a variety of different species that have been found so far, and those are the biggest locations for where the specimens have come from. So what still needs to be done? More specimens need to be collected from Bailey Mountain, and this not only includes from along the trails, but other parts of the mountain as well. So naturalists are actually one way that we can obtain this information. And so naturalist reports and using websites like iNaturalist and EcoExplorer are two of the ways that we can get information from them. And then also the Mars Hill University plant taxonomy class will be collecting plants from Bailey Mountain to help collect more data on Bailey. And then the other thing that needs to be done is the mapping still needs to get done. So why care? In doing all of this work, endangered plants can be found, and so the habitat types that those plants need can be protected and maintained to best suit those plants. And then invasive plants can also be found. So something, if one of these plants becomes a problem, then we'll know where to locate them and how to remove them. And then plants are also just really beautiful to look at. They come in so many different shapes and colors and sizes, and it's always amazing when you go out and look at them and find all of the small little changes and differences that are in them. And then this entire project is going to inform management planning for Bailey Mountain, which is very cool. And then I just want to give my thanks to Dr. Stoper Gordon and Dr. Pearson for helping me with this project. And I want to thank the Bailey Mountain Preserve Facebook page for supplying many of the pictures. just want to thank you guys for watching, and if you feel free to contact me or Dr. Sopa Gordon, and our emails are on this last thing.